Welcome to Kim Talks Resilience, where we share stories of insight and inspiration in life, love, and business with resilient women from around the world. Speaking with authors, entrepreneurs, founders, and coaches to learn their strategies for a more resilient life so we can all build the life we love. I'm your host, Kim Hayden. Alrighty, welcome back. I am super excited that you are choosing to share your time with me today. It's interesting. I think it's fortuitous that our next guest is joining us today because I had, an interesting thing that happened this morning. The older I get, the more I believe that karma and things are really real. Like this is happened. You put it out the universe and it presents itself. Yesterday, I had a great conversation with a young woman that I had met at an event, and she reached out and because she goes, I want to work for you. How can I work for you? And I don't have a position at this time. I'm sitting here going, but then this morning, one of my clients called and said, I really need somebody to do this. I just don't have the capacity. I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh. Right? So being able to be open and receptive, I think, is a challenge a lot of us have when we are running so fast that we're not actually paying attention to the signs around us. Now, our next guest, June Edwards, she has been a psychic since a child. However, she didn't realize she was a medium until later in life. She also passed to the other side when she was 27 years old and came back to the side by choice. She can offer firsthand experience that life after life does exist. June has worked on missing persons cases as well as consulting with many well-known paranormal groups and authors. She is an award-winning author and teacher of psychic and mediumship development. She created the Relationship Mastery Program, which teaches people how to change their energy, learn their 5 love lessons, and magnetize anyone or anything into their lives. So, like I said, fortuitous that June is here today because I absolutely agree, June. You can bring what you need if you're putting it out there, right?
I love your accidents in this world.
Absolutely. And that's a real honest to God example. That's a
It is. It's
call I took.
wonderful.
So, before we dive into your book and all that you do, because I mean, you're very prolific in your field. Can you share with us a little bit? And I'm curious a bit more around the point, and maybe we can dive in later around the passing at 27. But give us a bit more as to who is June.
I guess I'm a compilation of everything that's happened in my life up until now. And I roll with the punches. I'm versatile. I'm a survivor. And just a spirit living a human body here.
There you go. There you go. It's always funny to see people's responses when I say, because that's such a wide open statement, right? So it's always interesting. So let's go into, we met because you are a published author, but I'd like to know a little bit more around your programs. I love the fact that you have this whole program. And it's interesting because I think a lot of what you're teaching is almost opposite to how people are feeling these days.
Yeah, so most people nowadays are kind of stuck in the minutia of this 3D existence that we have here. And it's really difficult to pull yourself out of it if you don't know how. It's the old adage, you don't know what you don't know. And I created the Relationship Mastery Program about 5 years ago. It's a 7-week program. And I originally geared it towards people having issues with divorce or separation because those are the people that seem the most motivated to really do the work and make the changes. But since that happened, I've had lots of people with the economy the way it is in business, not knowing how to fix their life, taking the program, and other people that just want to change their life, bottom line. And what I do is I teach people how energy works. Everybody, energy is everywhere. Everything in the universe is energy, but no one understands it because we can't see it. But we can't see the air we're breathing, and we can't see the microwaves cooking our food, and they're there. and affects everything in our life. Everyone's walked into a funeral and felt that low, low vibe, and everybody's walked into a wedding or birthday party and felt the high vibration. Everybody's walked into a room at some point in time and felt like someone's either watching them or someone else came into the room and they felt that energy from that person, that it doesn't feel really good. They don't want to go near that person. This is energy. And the more you learn how energy works, the more you pick up and the more you can control it, bottom line. So as human beings, we vibrate around the 400 and change level, maybe up close to 500. That's our vibration. Energy, vibration, frequency, all different words for the same thing. Okay. So your soul is way too big for your body. And that's what you truly are, the soul, the energetic soul inside, not the suit that sits here. But some of your soul is over your body that people can see, and they call that an aura. And the majority of your soul is actually in the lowest level of heaven, that fifth dimension. And that has all the knowledge of all of your lifetimes. So when you meditate properly and get in touch with your soul, you're not just getting in touch with the soul that's inside your body. You're getting in touch with that part of your soul that's in that lowest level of heaven. So when you think of quantum physics and the speed of light, it's almost 300 million miles a second. That's a really high vibration. And that's how high your soul is vibrating that's in the fifth dimension. So it raises the vibration of this physical body when you get in touch with that soul. And when you raise your vibration and you can learn how to balance that energy, this is where the law of attraction kicks in. Everybody's, oh, how's that work? How's that work? Law of attraction is amazing. But everything in the universe has to stay in balance. So for every high, there's a low. There's good, there's evil, there's up, there's down, there's night and day. So if you don't balance your energy and you hit that law of attraction, you're going to crash. So that's the other thing that I teach, which is not the easiest thing in the world, is how to balance your energy. So once you get in touch with your soul and you raise that vibration and the law of attraction kicks in, you balance your energy and you maintain that for your life. The things that you can manifest in your world and in your life and the things that will come to you is just incredible.
I think a lot of it, and this is just and I could be completely wrong. However, I think a lot of it is people not paying attention.
So that's some of it.
They're not
but
being
again,
receptive, because I got that call this morning and I could have said, okay, and not done two and two, not brought it together. Said, there's a reason why last week I had this encounter for 5 minutes and that this person felt that they needed to reach out and that we needed to have a call. I could have not made that connection.
Correct.
Right.
But that would have gone against your soul. So when you're in this 3D body, we have a brain in our head, right?
Yeah.
Our brain is nothing, hopefully, our brain is nothing more than a massive computer. It helps you process all the information that you get. So you were processing that, okay? However, your brain has a very specific job. Your brain's job is to protect you. How does it do that? It does it by creating fear. So people make most of their decisions based on fear. And when you do that, it's literally a crapshoot. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong, but you're always questioning yourself. When you learn how to get in touch with your soul, that's the knowing. Everyone has had something in their life that they just knew they were supposed to do it. And they didn't think it through, they just did it, and it worked out fine. That is your soul. So and everybody's gone it the other way too, right? It's like they knew they shouldn't have done something, but they did it anyways, and it bit them in the butt, didn't it? Okay. Yeah. It works both ways. So you have to learn how to listen to your soul. And your soul is always going to be right and always going to put you where you're supposed to be. But the rest of the universe is always conspiring to help you as well. It's always working for your highest and best. Nothing is ever happening to you. It's always happening for you. People have to really shift their perspective and understand that. But it's the old adage, you don't know what you don't know. So, there are angels. Angels are real. They exist. They were never human. They are a completely separate race, and their entire existence is to help us. And they are all over the place all the time, but they can't help you if you don't ask. It's that simple. They will send you messages all the time. Lots of people see 111, 222, 1234, all these sequential numbers. They see all these things, but they don't know what it means. They're always, they talk in binary code and numbers, and they're always trying to give you a message. The same thing with all your loved ones that are on the other side. They're always trying to put you on your path. Anything out of the ordinary that happens, it's a sign from the other side. You know, I was sitting there one day in traffic, and all of a sudden this entire flock of turkeys, one by one, starts crossing the road in front of me. I'm like, what the heck? This went on for like 5 minutes. I looked it up. It was the most amazing message and connected immediately to what I was thinking about and what I was supposed to be doing. So it was confirmation for me that, okay, I am on the right path. Anytime anything weird like that happens, look it up. Look up the spiritual meaning, and you'll be amazed at the messages that they're trying to send you from the other side.
Today's world, one of the number one things that we're talking around since COVID is the mental health epidemic of loneliness. Do you believe that if we were more receptive or we were more open, that we would have fewer people feeling lonely?
So everyone has feelings, okay? The two things you take with you when you die are feelings and knowledge. That's it. Your emotions are an expression here of your feelings, okay? So there are many people that are alone but aren't lonely. I'm one of them. I live alone, except for my dog. I'm not lonely. I am a very happy, loving, caring person, but that's all on me. No one can make you feel anything. Okay. No one has that power over you. I can't look at you and say, Kim, I want you to be madly in love with me. Okay. It doesn't work that way. No one has power over your feelings but you. So how you feel is on you. So when you start doing things that you really enjoy and start loving your life, you're not going to be lonely. You're going to be happy. And you're going to be really enjoying your life. The problem right now with society is that, number one, people don't get out and socialize with other people. That's the first thing. And you can go volunteer somewhere at a soup kitchen if you can't find some place to go and socialize. Everybody needs help right now. Go help some old lady cut her grass. Go help take the trash out. Go say hi to your neighbors. Anything. There's so many opportunities out there. Get off the social media. That's like one of the worst blood-sucking things I've ever seen in my life. People spend hours. It's mind-numbing. It's the same thing with video games. You know, first I thought it was kids. Now I see there's adults doing it too. Again, it's just mind-numbing stuff. If you're going to spend your time doing nothing, so you think it's nothing, go meditate. Spend a couple hours meditating. Watch how your soul astral projects somewhere. It's amazing the things that you'll see and the things that you'll hear. Okay? Better than a TV show.
I love that. So basically, find a way to reconnect, either with yourself, your soul, or with your community.
It has to start with you first.
Yeah.
You know, everybody can sit there and play the poor me card. You know, again, it's all on you. You know, I moved to Florida 3 years ago, and other than my girlfriend that I've known for 30 years, who was working ungodly hours and never around, I had no one but me. I didn't know anybody. I went out and did things. I went out and met people. This is what you do.
Yeah. I agree. I agree 110%. I am curious. Can you share, are you able to share a little bit about some of the, like the missing persons? Cause you said that you have consulted on some missing persons
a little bit,
and
sure.
yeah, if you're, because that is something that we all like, I mean, we wouldn't be watching or making all these movies if it wasn't something of interest. And I'm just curious because I've always been like, how do you do it? Like, what is the process for you in assisting in these very emotionally charged, these very time sensitive spaces?
So, you know, there are psychic mediums that this is all they do. They work on murder cases and they work on missing person cases. For me, the universe has tried to give me a little experience in everything. Okay. Although it's not my specialty. Okay. So I have worked on some missing person cases with children that the parents had come to me, and then I would give them the information and they would take it to the police station, and both of those children were found. I was working on another gentleman for over a year who was missing. And the problem with missing person cases is, again, we vibrate at about a 400 and change frequency. If someone dies and does not go into the light, their frequency is the same as a human being. I cannot tell the difference. I can tap into them, but I cannot tell if they're alive or dead unless they let me know. And every soul does not want to let you know that they're dead for whatever reason. And one of the ones that I worked on, he did not want his family to know that he had died. They weren't ready, and they admitted after they weren't ready. Yeah. And he had us on a wild goose chase. He's giving me information that, on how his soul left the area, because again, with that low frequency, they can't travel far. They have to hop onto a car or get into a car, or he got into a truck and, took a truck out of the area with his soul and went up to the area that he grew up in and where he worked for years. And these are the places that he's giving us. And I'm up there with the family pounding the pavement looking for this guy, with flyers, and did not know he was dead until his body turned up. And then, I asked him what's going on. He said his family wasn't ready, which he admitted. And he had not gone into the light. So I moved him into the light and he came back immediately. And they weren't married. I didn't know that. He told me that he wanted to make sure that she got a wedding ring. And I'm like, I don't, I can only give what I get. And she's like, oh yeah, we weren't never officially married. I said, well, that's what he wants. He wanted you to have a wedding ring. He never got you one. And that was his big thing when he came back, but they knew they weren't ready for it, at the time that it happened. And everything happens the way it's supposed to, but I can only give what I get. And if if they're not in the light, then I certainly can't pick up on the fact that they're dead unless they tell me. I've had other ones come and tell me that they were and move them into the light as well, but they've told me.
And I think society is in general is very fascinated by this space because, I mean, like I said, we wouldn't have all the curiosity around things that are beyond our physical. Like I like how you put that. We know microwaves work, but we don't see the microwave working.
Well, it's
right?
Because everybody's curious because everyone has had something happen in their life. Okay. And the reality of it is everyone is born with psychic ability and mediumship ability. You're born with it. Everyone is born seeing entities and things until you start getting a little bit older and your brain starts to block it. I'll give you a great example. My dad was 93 when he passed, and he was dying of cancer. And he thought what I did was ridiculous. I only came out as a psychic at 50 because, I'd been in business my whole life before that, and I'd blocked my abilities. And my mom was a medium, which I didn't know because he had kidnapped us as kids and told us she was crazy. See, that's the montage of everybody. You're crazy if you do this stuff. So at 93 years old, I went to see him one day and he says, I want to talk to you about what you do. And I'm like, really? That's interesting. What do you want to know? He goes, well, I want to know why, every morning I wake up for the last couple of months, I see my mother standing next to my bed. And I said, well, she's there, Dad, to help you transition. When it's your time, she's going to help you go to heaven. He goes, well, that's not what I really want to know. What I want to know is I wake up and she's there, but she disappears after a few seconds. And I said, Dad, she didn't disappear. She's still here. She's been standing here for almost a year. I said, the reason you can't see her is because your brain is blocking it. Your brain can't believe the concept that she's here, so you don't see her. And this is what happens with most people. Again, your brain is there to protect you by creating fear. So it's fear, and it stops you from seeing it. Otherwise, you'd be seeing lots of things. The reality of it is color doesn't exist. Why do we see color? Because of the shape of our eye. We see the light, the energy bouncing off of shapes, which creates the color. Same thing. If a tree fell in the forest, would it make a noise? It would not. It makes an energetic vibration. The only time there is a noise is if there's something to pick up the energetic vibration, like your ear or a receiver. Okay. Everything is energy. Everything. So the only reason you're not seeing it, and again, I blocked my ability for many years. For 50 years, I blocked my ability because when I was a kid, I was scared to death. I was
Yeah.
waking up in the morning with all these, people in my room, hearing things, seeing things, knowing everything was going to happen before it happened. I got labeled a freak really quick in school. You just keep it quiet and you try to block it the best you can. And I passed, I died at 27 and I came back here by choice. You would think that would be the point in time, right? It was not the point in time. I was still afraid, but I started getting more curious. So I started going on haunted vacations and I started seeing the energy again. I started seeing the orbs. I started hearing the voices again. So because I was starting to let myself be less afraid. You can't do this work if you have fear. It's that simple. That's your brain stopping you from everything. So this is why everybody's so interested, because everyone's had some kind of an experience. But it's like playing a piano. Some people sit down and they just play chopsticks, right? Other people want to learn a couple songs. They sit down and they can teach themselves a couple of songs. Other people really want to do it for a living and they become a concert pianist. So anyone has the ability. And then I'm like the 6-year-old prodigy that just sits down and does Mozart. So it's just a lot of natural ability for me, plus my education from the other side and my high vibration from dying and going into the speed of light at 300 million miles a second. My soul came back in my body at that speed. So my vibration is really, really high. I can go back and forth and connect to that lowest level of heaven at any time.
Wow. Wow. Talk to me about your book. I want to know more about what the readers can expect. What's in the book?
So this is my 4th book, and this book was the result of the Relationship Mastery Program. And by putting hundreds of people through that program and changing their lives so much, I realized that everyone had the same 5 lessons that they needed to learn. Everyone. And you have to learn these lessons for your soul to advance, or you just keep repeating. And there's only 3 types of relationships. There's karmic relationships, soulmate relationships, and the extremely rare twin flame. So you're in a karmic relationship because it just never really feels quite right. You're always waiting for that shoe to drop. You're always looking for the red flags. That's a karmic relationship. And it's there for you to either learn something or teach the other person one of the 5 lessons. And once that has happened, the relationship ends immediately. It's like you wake up the next morning and say, why is this person even in my life? If you've both learned the lesson you were supposed to learn, it will end amicably. If only one person learned that lesson, then it's going to end, but it's not going to be amicable. Then you have the soulmate relationship, which is what, most people want. And what I would recommend is the nicest of relationships. And that feels really comfortable. It's like an old shoe. And it's also there for you to learn something or teach something, but it's there to afford you some love and comfort at the same time. And a soulmate relationship does not have to end once the lesson is learned. Some people go through their entire life with the same soulmate, learning all of their lessons. It really depends on what you wrote into your plan, because believe it or not, you wrote the plan for this life before you came here. And if you don't like what's happening, you've got no one to blame but you. We can always look back. 2020 vision's great, and we can see how one thing led to the next, and brought you where you are, right? But in order to learn where you're going forward, you really have to learn to listen to your soul. And if something happened in your past that you thought was very traumatic or very, how could I have planned that? If you think about what happened, as tough as it was to go through at the time, when you look back, something good came out of it. I guarantee it. Because when you're stubborn and you can't get on your life path where you're supposed to be, the universe will step in. Suppose you're supposed to go to Seattle and get married and have children, right? And that person's waiting for you. You're part of your life plan. And you're like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Well, they'll either make sure you lose your job or burn your house down. So you're going to go. They're going to get you there one way or the other. That's how it works. So the 5 lessons that we all need to learn. The first one is self-worth. And self-worth is not value. Value is what other people place on you. Self-worth is the understanding that you are so important. You are the only one of you in this entire universe. How special is that? You are very special. It's also understanding that no matter what society says, it is not narcissistic and it is not selfish to put yourself first. It's where everything else comes from. If you can't take care of yourself, you're not going to be here to take care of anybody else. It's that simple. And it's also understanding, like I said before, that no one has any power over you to make you anything. No one can make you happy. No one can make you, jealous. That's all on you. You are responsible for how you feel. So again, I see all these people, I'll be happy when this happens. I'll be happy when I find this person. No, 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 no. You need to make yourself happy, and then your vibration will rise, because love and happiness are high vibration. You will meet that person because you'll attract them. We're like magnets. We're always either repelling or magnetizing in at any given time. And then that happiness will just ping pong back and forth off the person that you brought in. Then you have trust and communication. You have to trust that, first of all, there is a higher power, and there is only one. I don't care what you call it. There's 1,764 recognized religions just in the United States alone. There's like 45,000 of them, more than that worldwide. There is only one. You can call it God, Buddha, Yahweh, source energy, whatever you want to call it. There is only one creator. And when you get to the other side, you're going to find that out. But you also have to trust that you made this plan. So whatever's happening in your life, as tough as it is to go through it, it's happening for a reason. It's teaching you something. Okay. Ask yourself, what am I supposed to be learning from this? Or what am I supposed to be teaching someone from this? Okay. Look at it from a higher perspective. And you have to be able to communicate your wants and your needs to the people in your life. And that's everybody. Relationship is everything. Relationship is business. It's family. It's friends. It's coworkers. It's not just your significant other. Okay. So you have to be able to communicate your wants and your needs to them. And sex is just another form of communication. If you can't trust and communicate outside the bedroom, you're not going to be able to trust and communicate inside the bedroom. Okay. Then you have unconditional love. Unconditional love is not saying, oh, I got to stay in this relationship, even though he only beats me on Sundays, because I love him unconditionally. That's not unconditional love. This is where the lessons keep on reinforcing each other. This takes you back to your self-worth again. Unconditional love is saying, listen, we had a good run. I really want the best for you. I truly, truly do. I want your happiness, and I want it for me as well. But this is not working. We need to go our separate ways. End of story. You don't stop bad mouthing them to their friends down the road a week or two later. It's no one's business. You want the best for them. You let it go. You move on. That's unconditional love. Suppose you had a child that you loved unconditionally, and they did something horrific, like they murdered a neighbor in a fit of rage, and they went to prison for the rest of their life. You don't like what your child did, but hopefully you're still going to love your child. Okay. And I've had people tell me, oh, those are conditions. You were in a relationship. Oh, they were related to you. Well, you know what? If you can't learn unconditional love from that perspective, the universe will take a different perspective. Maybe you'll have a drunk driver take your child from you. And now you have to look at the unconditional love situation towards the driver. Are you going to let that eat away and destroy you because of you have hate for that person? Or are you going to understand that your child wrote this into his life plan, number one, and knew they weren't going to be here for a very long time? And number two, that driver has his lessons that they have to learn here, and they're learning them a very difficult way and very challenging. And again, your lesson is going to be that much more challenging because it's not an easy lesson to learn for some people. Then you have money and balance. And money is energy. This is why it's called currency. And it's what we use in this 3D world to show whether or not your life is in balance. And everybody thinks, oh, money's the root of all evil. No, it is not. Only if you are out of balance with money and you're using it for the wrong reasons, okay? Then you're using it for power. It's out of balance. So everything has to be an even exchange of energy to have value, right? So you don't walk into a grocery store and put down $1 million to buy a gallon of milk, right? Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
That was funny. Yeah. You just slipped that right in there.
It has to be an even exchange of value. Okay. So for everybody in business, what's the value of what it is you're selling? Whether it's your knowledge, whether or not it's a widget, it doesn't matter. But you need to know the value of what you're selling. Don't undersell yourself, right? And this is how money works. It's energy. So let's say you're working 80 hours a week. Again, your life's going to be out of balance. You're not going to have time for your friends, your family, your own hobbies. And then if you're just saving the money, you don't have enough self-worth to spend the fruits of your labor on yourself. Money's energy. The more you put out, the more comes back. You can't hoard it. It has to go with the flow of the universe.
Yeah.
Then you have patience is the last one. Everything comes to you at the time it's supposed to come. You know, it'd be kind of stupid if every little 5-year-old girl that wants to get married and had babies, right, the stork starts delivering them. No. Everything comes in the time that it's supposed to. And it's the same thing if you're in your 30s and your biological clock is ticking, right? And you want to get married and you want to have kids. Well, clearly you did not write that into your plan at this point in time for whatever reason. Maybe there were other things you wanted to learn or do, right? Doesn't mean it's never going to happen. Maybe when you're 50, you're going to marry a widow and raise his children. You have no idea. And you're not supposed to know everything that's going to happen in your life. If you knew everything that was going to happen, you wouldn't get out of bed in the morning. It's that simple. Even me. They don't
Yep.
tell me everything that's going to happen. I have clues. I have hints. I have an idea, but I don't know the details. If I knew all the details, what fun would my life be? It wouldn't be any fun at all.
Yeah, that's that's the excitement of every day,
Yeah,
exploring every day.
it is.
Absolutely. June, where can people find you, follow you, engage with you?
So my main everything is my website, juneedward.com. There's no S in there, juneedward.com. There are lots of videos that you can watch. There is a free webinar people can sign up for and take and learn a little bit more about energy. And if they're interested in the relationship mastery program, they can sign up for a free call with me on that, see if they're a good fit. They can schedule an appointment with me. I do Akashic record reading, mediumship, psychic readings, astrology, all kinds of different things. And there are links to all of my books on my website. They're available everywhere, but instead of hunting them down, you just go to the website and they're right on the front page.
And you're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and you have a YouTube community.
I do, yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. And we'll have all that information in the show notes. So it's all there, folks. You know, I always like to kind of close out with a quote and what's something that means something to you. What's a quote that means something
Well,
to you?
I'm going to give you two.
Okay.
Because my first one's just kind of fun, you know. It's don't sweat the petty stuff and don't pet the sweaty stuff.
That's funny.
But my mom always used to tell us that if you don't have anything good to say about something, don't say anything. Just keep it to yourself. You know, makes for a nice, even, you know, less drama life.
I agree 110%. You know, been married 30 years and it always hasn't been smooth, but
You have to pick your
yeah,
battles.
you pick your battles. You pick your battles and
Absolutely.
you don't go and tell your friends and your family all of because that's they won't forgive like you will, right? So
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
All righty. June, thank you so much for your time today. And, you know, all I can say, folks, is, you know, I always say, be good to yourself. Well, maybe perk up, open your ears and listen for some of those clues. Feel some of that stuff that's coming at you that you just maybe weren't in tuned to before.
Miracles happen every day. They're all around you. Just watch.
Excellent. Thank you, June. All right, folks,
Thank
stick
you.
around for my super duper cool outro. And until next time, be good to yourself. Thank you for joining us here today at Kim Talks Resilience. I'm your host, Kim Hayden, and I'd love to invite you to our resilient community at resilientgift.com. That's resilientgift.com, and we'll send you our magazine and tickets for upcoming events and all sorts of cool things we do here. So be sure to keep watching. And you know what? Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share, because we all know that